Hi guys, welcome to Classical Conversations, week 23, cycle 2. This is for Miss Anna's Abecedarians class, and I just want to say how much I miss you all, how much I miss seeing Quinn, Xander, Tessie, Niall, Liliana, Micah, and obviously I have my Corey and Maggie, and we're just hunkering down at home, getting stuff done and hanging out with the boys who have no school. So we really miss being with you all, but here I am to teach you your new grammar so you can have it for the week. For those of you moms that are on top of it, I don't know if I would have been, but here it goes. Okay. We're going to start with our timeline, just like we do in class. So the first one is age of information. So we're going to say A for age, and we're going to type in a computer like the computer age. So age of information and globalization. Can you do that? Age of information and globalization. All right, good job. The next one is Watergate. President Nixon resigns. So Watergate, and then President Nixon resigns. So sign something like you're resigning, like I'm not going to work here anymore, okay? So Watergate, President Nixon resigns. All right, back to the beginning. Age of information and globalization. Watergate, President Nixon resigns. The next one, fall of communism in Eastern Europe. So the fall of communism in Eastern Europe. Can you do that? The fall of communism in Eastern Europe. Back to the beginning. Age of information and globalization. Watergate. President Nixon resigns. Fall of communism in Eastern Europe. The next one is European Union formed. So European Union formed. So join hands again. We've done that a lot. European Union formed. Very good. Back to the beginning. Age of information and globalization. Watergate. President Nixon resigns. Fall of communism in Eastern Europe. European Union formed. The next one is apartheid abolished in South Africa. And we have a history sentence about this one from another cycle. And apartheid is Afrikaans, so South African language. It's like a dialect of Dutch. It means apartness. So apartheid and abolished means, and they got rid of the apartness of the blacks and the whites, because in South Africa, most people were Dutch or British immigrants, and so black people were actually the minority in Africa, South Africa at the time. So this is special because in 1994, South African President de Klerk allowed free elections. Nelson Mandela, that's the guy on our history card, became the first black president of South Africa. Isn't that cool? All right, so we go like this. Apartheid. So give me an A for apartheid. Apartheid, and then abolish it. Abolished in South Africa. Let's do that again. Apartheid abolished in South Africa. Back to the beginning. Age of information and globalization. Watergate, President Nixon resigns. The fall of communism in Eastern Europe. European Union formed. Apartheid abolished in South Africa. The next one is September 11, 2001. And your mommies can all tell you about this because they were alive when it happened. Actually, most of your mommies may still have been alive in 1994. But September 11, 2001. For this, we're going to hold up our arms like this. And they represent the two towers. And we're going to go like this. One of them is going to crumble. And the other one's going to crumble the second time. Because that's representing when those planes flew in and hit and killed everybody in New York. All right, so September 11, 2001. Do that again. September 11, 2001. Good, back to the beginning. Age of information and globalization. Watergate. President Nixon resigns. The fall of communism in Eastern Europe. European Union formed. Apartheid abolished in South Africa. September 11, 2001. And the last one. Rising Tide of Freedom. This is, the picture on your timeline card is from an Egyptian revolution. And your mommy can read you more about that. I don't know a lot about it. But for Rising Tide of Freedom, we just go like this. Rising Tide of Freedom. Like we're breaking free. Rising Tide of Freedom. Good job. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to put the song on. And you guys can do a little bit of review with me. Depending on where I pick up in the song. Hopefully we won't have to go back too far. Alrighty, where am I? Thank you for being patient. All right, we're going to get there. We're at the very end of our timeline. This is super special. Can't believe we made it. All right, come. All right, we're coming. Mao and communist victory in China, North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
North Atlantic
Treaty Organization. The Korean War. Martin Luther King Jr. and the Civil Rights Movement. It keeps pausing.
Jr. and the Civil Rights Movement.
Jim and Elizabeth Elliot, missionaries to Ecuador. The Antarctic Treaty, the Vietnam War. U.S. astronauts walk on the moon. That was last week. You guys may not have done that. All right, here we go.
Age of
Information and globalization.
circa 1970.
70 to the present. Watergate, President Nixon resigns. Fall of communism in Eastern Europe. European Union formed. Apartheid abolished in South Africa. 2000 AD, 2000 AD, September 11, 2001. Rising tide of freedom, rising tide of freedom, timeline. All right, guys, we did it. We finished the timeline. Super good job. That's a lot to remember. Okay, we're going to move on to the next thing, and it is history sentence. Tell me about the Gulf War. So whenever I do this, to me it kind of sounded like golf. So whenever we say Gulf War, pretend like you're golfing, okay? Makes it fun. Alrighty. Tell me about the Gulf War. In 1990, hold up 9 fingers. In 1990, President George H.W. Bush sent troops to the Persian Gulf. And then to expel, so give me an X, to expel Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein from Kuwait during the Gulf War. Let's do that again. In 1990, President George H.W. Bush sent troops to the Persian Gulf to expel Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein from Kuwait during the Gulf War. All right, let's do the song just a couple times.
Week 23. Tell me about the Gulf War. In 1990, President George H.W. Bush sent troops to the Persian Gulf to expel Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein from Kuwait during the Gulf
The
War.
Gulf War.
In 1990, President George H.W. Bush sent troops
To the Persian Gulf to expel Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein from Kuwait during the Gulf War.
In 1990, President George H.W. Bush sent troops
To the Persian Gulf to expel Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein from Kuwait during the Gulf War. All right, we're going to do it
Week
one more time.
23. Tell me about the Gulf War. In 1990, President George H.W. Bush sent troops to the Persian Gulf to expel Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein from Kuwait during the Gulf War.
In 1990, President George H.W. Bush sent troops
To the Persian Gulf to expel Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein from Kuwait during the Gulf War.
In 1990, President George H.W. Bush sent troops
To the Persian Gulf to expel Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein from Kuwait during the Gulf War. All right, good job, guys. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to review our Latin. Oh, it might be backwards on your screen. All right. Oh, let me get my lamb. Hang on, I have a Latin lamb. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's do our Latin song. And
Weeks 11 and 12, 23 and 24. Ero eris erit, Aramis eritis errant, first conjugation, future perfect tense.
all right, let's review that again. And you guys sing along with it, okay?
Weeks 11 and 12, 23 and 24.
Ero eris erit, Aramis eritis errant, first conjugations, future perfect tense. All right, good job. We're going to move on to the next thing. The next thing we have is I want to go over our geography. And our geography is pretty simple this week. It is Central Asia. And it is over here. You have to use your world side map at home, moms. And the purple is Kazakhstan. That's the biggest one up there, okay? Do not mispronunciate it and call it Kazakhstan. There is not another A, no matter what people say. Kazakhstan. The next one underneath it in the orange to the southwest is Uzbekistan. To the southeast to below is Kyrgyzstan. And then we have the green underneath Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan. The black is Tajikistan. Whole lot of stands. The song is very simple and it helps you remember where everything is placed. And it goes something like this. Oh, Central Asia, find the Ural Mountains. They lead you to Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan, and Turkmenistan, and Tajikistan. One more time. Oh, Western Asia, find the Ural Mountains. They lead you to Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan, and Turkmenistan, and Tajikistan. All right, that'll be really easy for you guys to work on at home, and you can get your maps out and do that. The next thing we have on our list is, let me see if I can hold it up. Oh, it's going to be backwards. I kind of forget that it's just going to be totally backwards for you guys. English grammar. What is an adjective? Well, an adjective is a word that describes a noun. It's a lot more simple way to say it, but you guys are going to give them a very long definition. An adjective modifies a noun or a pronoun. That's how we're going to chant it. An adjective modifies a noun or a pronoun by describing, qualifying, or limiting. Again, an adjective modifies a noun or a pronoun by describing, qualifying, or limiting. And answers the questions: what kind, how many, which, whose. What kind, how many, which, whose. An adjective modifies a noun or a pronoun by describing, qualifying, or limiting. And answers the questions: what kind, how many, which, whose. What kind, how many, which, whose. All right, very simple. You guys can chant that with your kiddos. I think we have two more things. Science. How does heat flow? There's a lot of really fun things online, coloring sheets. I actually think I have some. I can forward some to you, moms. So how does heat flow? The little chant just basically, it's just a chant, no song. How does heat? How does it flow? And then for the first one, radiation, we are like, radiation, like something's radiating out. Radiation. The next one is conduction. So you pretend like you're a conductor. Conduction. The third one is convection, like you're putting something in the oven, okay? Like a convection oven. So how does heat? How does it flow? Radiation. Conduction. Convection. Again, how does heat? How does it flow? Radiation. Conduction. Convection. Good job. Do that a few more times and you'll have it down. The last one is the distributive law. For this age group, very simple. The idea is we are simply distributing something. So A, close parentheses, B plus C, open parentheses, B plus C, close parentheses equals A times B plus A times C. The idea is you are distributing. So I'm going to take two blacks. Let's say this represents A, okay? And green is B, and red is C. So A times B plus C equals A times B plus A times C. Does that make sense? You'll have it in your foundations guide. You can go over it at home. But basically just chanting that A, open parentheses, B plus C, close parentheses, equals A times B plus A times C. A, open parentheses, B plus C, close parentheses, equals A times B plus A times C. All right. And in regards to your egg protector hands-on science, there's instructions for that in the foundations guide, and you can also find a lot of cool stuff online if you want to do that with your kids. Fine Arts, it's an orchestra overview. They will have plenty of that inside of the foundations guide, as well as going on CC Connected and downloading some of those neat songs or tools or crafts or whatever, and listening to, reviewing some of the composers that we've gone over and some of their music. You can put that on while you're homeschooling. Alrighty, that is all for you guys, and yeah, I will see you again next week.